Hey guys, my name's Caleb, or not Leb. You can call me Leb too. If you guys call me Leb, that'd be fun. Hello. And I hope that you had a fun time celebrating Brienne's birthday for Connection Weekend, right? That's fun. If it's your first time here at Shepherd Youth ever, I just want you to know I am super glad that you're here, and I hope that you come say hi to me afterwards so I can get to know you. Hi. All right, so we've been in a series called For God So Loved, where we're looking at Jesus' death and resurrection on the cross. And I believe that when Jesus died on the cross, and then when you put your faith in him, you received a new name. And I think it's our job to live up to that new name we have received. So today I want to speak for a few minutes on living up to your name. All of us have a name, first and last, and I think that our names mean something, especially our last names, because your last name represents like where you come from. A name, you can write on your notes, it says living up to a name gives you an identity and a purpose. A name tells you who you are, where you come from, and in some senses what you do. I think this is why multiple times throughout the Bible, like in the Old Testament, Jacob, he was renamed Israel. And then Simon was renamed Peter in the New Testament. And then Saul was renamed, any of you know? Paul. Saul was renamed Paul. He's giving them these new names because he's saying, this is your new identity. And I want you to live up to this name. I remember when I first started playing Little League Baseball, I was about 5 years old, and my team was really bad. And we lost like our first 4 or 5 games, and every time after we lost, I would be bawling, crying my eyes out. I hated losing. I still hate losing. And I remember after a couple games, I went over to my dad, and I was bawling my eyes out. I'm like, Dad, I hate this. I want to quit. And I remember my dad, he kind of got down on my level. He said, Caleb, we don't quit. That's not what we do. When we make a commitment, we keep it. And even when it's hard, we keep going. We keep fighting because we're Waldens. That's what we do. And I remember seeing that play out. Like my parents played in this rec softball league, slow pitch softball. And I remember watching my dad go up to bat, and he would strike out one at bat, and then he'd come up to the next at bat, and he'd hit a home run. I remember watching my mom. I think she was at second base. And this guy hit a single into the outfield, and they threw it to my mom. He's running the base so she can tag him out. And she goes to tag him, and she just gets laid out. Like this dude just runs right into my mom, lays her out, and everybody kind of like starts yelling at the dude. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like 5 years old, like, you hurt my mom, I'm gonna fight you. And I go, they're talking to this guy, and my mom, she gets up off the ground like, in pain. First question, did I get him out? Yeah. That's what it means to be a Walden. We're competitive. We fight. When we make a commitment, we keep it. My name means something. I honestly think, last, any of you been to summer camp? Yeah. So I'm just going to let you know that 9 out of the last 10 summer camps, a Walden, this Walden has been on the winning team. Just letting you know. Yeah, boo me. I'm just living up to my name, No, but I'm being serious. A name really does, it means something. It gives you something to live up to. How many of you seen The Lion King? Okay, so I don't know, either one. I've only seen the old one. Some of you probably saw the new one, but I think they're pretty similar. In The Lion King, so I don't remember exactly how it ends up happening, but I know Scar, Simba's uncle, tells Simba to like run in that valley. And like, I said gazelles yesterday, and Gio was like, they aren't gazelles, they're wildebeests. I was like, okay. But he's running in this valley, and then all these wildebeests they're just like hundreds of them start chasing after him. So he starts booking it because he doesn't want to get trampled and die, and he's running, but they're catching up to him, and he's not gonna make it, and he's realizing like this is the end. But Mufasa, Simba's dad, figures out that Simba's down there. So he runs, jumps in, knocks all the wildebeest out of the way, and then he covers Simba up, but he gets trampled. And Mufasa ends up dying, making sure Simba's okay. And Scar, who planned it all, the uncle, went over and he said, hey, Simba, it's your fault that your dad died. And if you go back home, everyone's gonna be ashamed of you, and they're not gonna want you back, so run away. And Scar told him to run away, and he sent the hyenas, I think they were, after him to try to kill him, because Scar knew he was next in line for the throne if Simba left. And Basically what happens is Scar takes over the Pride Lands, and it becomes this horrible place to live, and Simba knows what's happening, and he knows he should go back, but he's afraid. He's afraid of what the people would think. He's afraid of if he has what it takes to be king, and there's a scene where he gets to talk to his dad again, and his dad reminds him how to live up to his name. I want you to watch this scene.
Look down there.
That's not my father. It's just my reflection.
No. Look hard. You see, he lives in you.
Father?
Simba, you have forgotten me.
No. How could I?
You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life.
How can I go back? I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are. You are my son, and the one true king. Remember who you are.
No! Please! Don't leave me!
Remember.
Father!
Remember.
Don't leave me.
Remember.
So Simba, he gets to talk to his dad, and his dad says to him, Simba, remember who you are. That was good, right? That was good. I didn't even need to play that clip. Come on, that was good. And he says, Simba, you're my son. You were born to be king. And what ends up happening is from this scene, Simba, he gets inspired. He's reminded that he has a name to live up to. So he goes back to the Pride Lands, he fights Scar, he takes over, and he brings it back to its former glory. He brings the Pride Lands back to what they're supposed to be. But it all started because he was reminded of who he was. He was reminded of where he came from. And today, that's what I want to try to do. I want to try to give you one of those moments where I say, hey, this is who you are. You have a name to live up to. And some of you might be like, no, Caleb, you don't know my name. Like, you don't know my family name. I don't really want to live up to that. And I want to say, I do. If you believe in Jesus, I do know your family name. Because your family name isn't what you think it is. Your family name is child of God. I want you to write this in your notes. Jesus' death makes your name child of God. We've been talking about how Jesus' death connects you to God these past 2 weeks. I think a deeper word for connect would be this word adopt. Jesus' death has allowed you to become adopted into the family of God. Ephesians 1, the end of verse 4 and the rest of the verse 5 says, in love, he predestined us for adoption to sonship or daughtership through Jesus Christ. John 1:12 says this, all who receive him and all who believe in his name, he gave them the right to become children of God. If you believe in Jesus, because of his death, you are adopted into God's family, and now you are a child of God. That is the name you are supposed to live up to. And this name, child of God, it comes with a spirit that helps you live up to it. More than I am Caleb Walden, son of Sean and Suzanne Walden, I am Caleb Walden, child of God. More than you are David, Katie, Joey, Yvette, Joy, Andrew, Matthew, son or daughter of your earthly parents, you are now child of God. And that new name calls you to live a new life. And just like Mufasa tells Simba, remember who you are. And just like my dad said, Caleb, remember, you're a Walden. This is what we do. God looks at us and he says, this is what you do as a child of God. This is how you live up to your name. And Jesus tells us that you live up to your name, child of God, by forgetting yourself and fighting for others. You can write that in your notes. Live up to the name, child of God, by forgetting yourself and fighting for others. In Luke 9:23, Jesus says, whoever wants to be my disciple, which he's saying, whoever wants to follow me, whoever wants to live up to this name, here's what you got to do. You must deny yourself and you must take up your cross daily, every single day, and follow me. You want to be my disciple? Deny yourself, take up your cross daily, and follow me. Jesus is saying, hey, we're a family, we're a people. You come from a bloodline that doesn't think about themselves and what they need. They think about the needs of others. They're focused on not serving themselves, but serving others. You want to live up to the name child of God? Then deny yourself and do for others. Die to yourself and live for others. Live up to the name child of God by forgetting yourself and fighting for others. Turn to the person next to you and tell them, fight for others. That's what we do. That is the people that we are. That is what our family does. We fight for other people. We forget about what we need. Philippians 2:3-4 says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility, value others as better than yourselves. Value them above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. So I have a question for anybody who is a believer in Jesus, a Christian in this room, and I'm going to call you child of God because that is your name. Child of God, are you living up to your name? Are you doing nothing out of selfish ambition? Do you value others as more important than yourself? Because children of God forget themselves and they fight for others. Any of you guys still play Fortnite? There's like even yesterday and today, there's kind of like this groan, oh, not this again. Okay, well, I never liked it, but it's just an example. I played it like 3 times in my whole life. And I'm really bad at any kind of shooting game. And I played it with my friend. And I remember we're going out in like the partner mode. And what's it called? No, you said Minecraft? Duo. Okay, so I'm going out in this duo mode, and my friend, he's doing fine. I'm kind of like, I'm dying out there. I'm getting shot, and he has one of it's called a med kit, right? So he has a med kit, and I'm like, hey, I think you can share that with me, right? Do you mind like dropping that thing so I can pick it up and use it? And my friend looks at me, he's like, well, you're kind of bad, so like. He said, if I give it to you, like, you'll kind of just waste it and you'll end up dying anyway. So I'm going to save it for myself and I'm going to use it later. I was like, what the heck? Does that ever happen to you when you play? Like someone wouldn't give you what's up with that? So that's like the opposite of what we're supposed to do as Christians. For the sake of the illustration, the picture, as Christians, we are people who, we would give our med kit away. Even if we needed it, we would give it away. We come from a family that even if our lives are on the line, we're still fighting to help others. 1 John 3:16 says, this is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. Hey, look around you real quick. Just look at the people around you. Those are the people that you're supposed to lay down your life for. This is just who we are. This is what our family does. We forget ourselves and we fight for others. And it's what Jesus did. Like, Jesus set this example for us. And a lot of people think like, yeah, Jesus, he died on the cross. That's when he gave his life. And you're right. That is the most beautiful picture of dying to yourself of all time. But I want you to realize that Jesus calls you to die to yourself daily. And I believe that Jesus died to himself every single day before he ever actually went on the cross. Think about it. Jesus, he risked his life when he walked towards a demon-possessed man in Mark chapter 5 to try to help him. This is a man that people tried to chain up. They tried to keep him away. They were afraid of him. Jesus walked towards this man, risking his life, trying to help him, and he set this man free from his demons. Jesus risked his life every single day. Think about when he went up to a leper. Lepers were infected with this skin disease that was very contagious, and they had to yell leper or ring a bell everywhere they went so people could stay away. Jesus saw a leper, and he walked towards the leper, and he put his hands on a leper, risking getting the sickness himself so he could heal them. Jesus risked his life daily when he saw a woman who was about to be stoned, and he surrounded her, and he said, whichever one of you has no sin, you be the first to throw a stone. Jesus put himself in harm's way. He risked his life every single day to fight for others. That's who we are. That's the kind of family that you come from. A family that forgets itself and fights for others. And you might be thinking, but yeah, that's Jesus. Like we can't do everything that Jesus did. I don't know, man. The early church did it too, and you got Jesus living inside of you. I think you can do it. The early church, it says in Acts 2:45 and 47, and verse 45, it says the early church, they sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had a need. And if you skip to the end of verse 47, it says the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. Anytime someone had a need, the church they would literally go, oh, I think I have some things I can sell to help you out. Can you imagine like selling your Xbox or PlayStation or your iPhone? Like just saying, hey, mom, dad, can you sell my iPhone? Give me a flip phone so that I can help my friend and their parents like pay for their rent, pay for their mortgage. That's what the church was doing. They said, anything I have, like, no, it's yours. I'm gonna help you out. And because they died to themselves daily, the church grew daily. Jesus laid down his life daily. The early church laid down their lives daily, and because of Jesus' death on a cross, you've been adopted into that family, and you are called to lay your life down daily. Last question on your notes. So how are you forgetting yourself and fighting for others? How are you forgetting yourself and fighting for others? Are you someone who comes to church, comes to Shepherd Youth, and like, you come and you listen, but you're like, man, I wish it was more like tailored towards middle school. I wish it was more like high school. I wish they did connection weekends every weekend. I wish it was more inviting and welcoming, but you come and complain, but like, you never talk to the person that sits next to you. You never add energy to the room during worship. Do you just sit there and not talk to anyone? If that's you, that's not the family you come from. That's not how you live up to your family name. We have a name to live up to, and it's a name that where our family, they risked their lives. They risked their social status to help others. So I think what we need to do is we need to risk having a weird conversation. Like maybe it's weird to talk to somebody new, but we should do it anyways. Maybe it feels uncomfortable to lift our hands in worship and to put our energy towards that, but we should do it anyways because it's not about us, it's about others. Forget yourself, fight for others. How can we do this? Like I said, make sure no one sits alone in this room. I hope if someone is sitting alone in this room, it's because they were asked 3 times and they just want to sit alone. But I want all of you, if you see somebody like sitting alone next week, invite them to sit with you. If you see somebody who looks like they don't know anybody, talk to them because that's who we are. You can give to organizations that help with support foster care and help stop sex trafficking. And you're like, Caleb, I don't have any money. I think you have an Xbox. You have an iPhone. I already talked about that. I think somebody needs help more than you need to be on your phone or playing video games. You could volunteer your time babysitting for a family to give them a picture of Jesus, to help their marriage, to give them a date night. You could go to a retirement home and hang out. Like, do you understand that there's people in retirement homes who don't have any family coming to visit them? You could go and you could show them the love of Jesus. These are some good ones. Listen to these. Tell a friend that you're mad at that you still love them. Or tell someone you hurt. If you hurt them intentionally or unintentionally, tell someone that you hurt that you're sorry. Tutor someone who needs help with school. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. You are a child of God. You come from a family that fights for other people. And I want you to live out this name every day of your life. I think we as Christians are at our best when we're walking around and just asking God, where can I live in your kingdom right now? What can I do to live in the kingdom of God right now? I want you to do it in every way you can, but I'm also going to give you one specific thing to do this week, just once. And I'm going to give one to middle school and one to high school. And please do it. See what happens. Middle schoolers, where are you at? Raise your hand. Hey. Middle schoolers. Here's what I want you to do this week. I want you, if you are in a drive-thru with your parents, I want you to ask them to buy food for the people in the drive-thru line behind you. That's what I want you to do. I want that to be the way that you forget yourself when you fight for others. And I don't know what they'll say. They might say yes, they might say no, but I bet they'll ask, why? Why are we gonna do that? And you know what you can tell them? You can say, because our family is part of a bigger family that tries to show the world the love of Jesus, that fights for others. Middle schoolers, can you try that? Yeah. All right, yeah, try it out. All right, high school. So much enthusiasm. High school, here's one thing I want you to do this week. It's not gonna be too hard, I promise you. I want you to sit at a lunch table that you don't usually sit at. That's it. I just want you to sit at a lunch table that you probably usually sit in the same place. There might be a table of people you know, but you don't really hang out with. I just want you to sit at that table. I just want you to go sit there, and this is all you have to say. Hey, man, like, dude, I haven't really gotten to talk to you much that year. This year, how's your year going? Like, what are your favorite classes? How are your classes going? You playing that sport still? Just start a conversation and see how it goes. That's what I want you guys to do. And think about this with me real quick. Think about so middle schoolers, ask your parents to buy lunch for people behind you. High schoolers, sit at a different lunch table. Do this to fight for others. And think about this with me. We have more technology and resources than ever before. Generation Z, like, I'm part of that generation with you. That's who we are. And we have all of this technology, and we know how to do so much stuff on our phones and with the internet. How can we make the biggest impact for Jesus how can we make a bigger impact for Jesus than ever before? How can we fight harder for others than any generation before us because of the resources that we have? How? I don't know, but I want you to think about that with me. And if you have ideas, tell us, because we will help you do them, because we care about forgetting ourselves and fighting for others. Let me tell you a story, and then we're done. There's a story about my dad. My dad, when he was in early middle school, I think he was about 12. I've told you before, his dad wasn't around. And his mom worked 3 jobs to try to support their family, and that meant that the home was pretty empty all the time. So they kind of just did whatever they want. And he had 2 older siblings, a brother and sister, that were kind of off doing a lot of drugs. I think his sister had a kid already by the time, when my dad was in middle school or early high school. And they would bring people that were doing drugs over to the house because mom was never home. And it was just a really rough home life. But every single Sunday, my dad's mom, my grandma, would make sure that they went to church. And when my dad went to church, he met a youth leader, like our youth leaders in this room. He met one of them, and that youth leader heard his story, and the youth leader knew he needed to step in and just try to love on this kid, who's my dad. So he got him a ticket to an Oklahoma Sooner football game. And he took him to this college football game. He loved on him. He made church a safe place for him. And my dad loved being at church because of it, because of all these people who loved on him. And at 12 years old, because my dad loved church so much, this was the logic in his head. He's like, I love being at church. I want to be at church every single day. How can I do that? I could be a pastor. So at 12 years old, my dad decided he wanted to be a pastor because he loved being at the church, and he wanted to recreate that environment for others, and he wanted to be at his favorite place every day. And when the church found that out, they let my dad preach his first sermon at 15 years old. And my dad ended up going off to Ozark Christian College, becoming a pastor. He met my mom, and I come from an amazing family, but my life was blessed because my dad's life was blessed, and his life was blessed by the church just being who they are. The church took him in as their own. They fought for him. They saw a kid who needed love desperately, and they gave it to him. They made church a safe place for him to be, and because they did it, his life was changed, my life was changed, and generations to come will be changed because the church was just the church. They lived up to their name. Thank you. When the church lives up to its name, child of God, lives are changed. So how are you going to live up to that name? How are you going to live up to that name? Let's pray. God, thank you so much for the grace that you give us, for your word, for this time to gather together. God, thank you for the church and this place where we can come and know that we can find your love through people. God, the church has changed my life. The generosity of other people in my life, fighting for me, has made an impact that I will never forget. God, I pray that you help me share that same love and generosity with others, and I pray that you'll help everybody in this room fight for others. It's in your name I pray, amen.